Hey, so today is St. Lazarus's feast day. It is also my second ex-husband's birthday, so what a quinky dink. So I thought I would just jump on and talk a little bit about St. Lazarus. So when we talk about St. Lazarus, that usually is, he's the patron of the sick. So we usually are talking about illness, we may be talking about poverty, isolation. When we work with him in ritual, it's usually something to do petition-wise with suffering, physical vitality, money acquisition, employment, hope. There's quite a few, boxes we can cross with St. Lazarus. So I even made some notes so I wouldn't forget because I've been tired lately. But, endurance and reversals is something that I don't know if we talk a lot about with St. Lazarus, because he is one of the key saints that we work with in omnistic practices in terms of bringing in endurance. For a prime example, right now, I'm going through my Saturn squaring Mars. And so I have done offering to St. Lazarus, and I'm going to give you some good offering ideas just for appeasement of that heavy burden-based energy that comes in under those astrological conditions. So healing, death and rebirth, Santeria, that's another thing. People who practice Santeria, voodoo, he is huge in folk magic. He's actually a bridge, really, through traditional Christian practices to folk magic. Historically, he has worked both sides of the fence and he is used on both sides of the fence. So in traditional Christian magic, as well as in a variety of forms of folk magic, especially Santeria. So keep that in mind. I know I talk a lot about Afro-Cuban traditions, but he is used, with orishas. He is used so omnistically that he's just one of those saints that you can call upon regardless of what your practice or path is. Even if you're not polytheistic. I just think that he is a wonderful saint to work with. And with today being his feast day, I'm giving offering by just kind of educating all of you about him. So, physical vitality. We talked about money acquisition, opening closed doors, restoration of hope, employment, housing stability. He's a big one for housing stability. Mercy, again, I'm going through a Saturn square Mars period, and I'm leaving offering for mercy, for relief during that heavy, burdensome period that I'm in right now. So I'm giving offering for relief for my personal Saturn square Mars activity. But key phrases I like to associate with this particular saint. Delay is not denial. Stagnation may be a moment before divine movement. Suffering is usually the threshold of elevation. Those three statements, I think, really kind of define working with St. Lazarus. And again, there are some other areas I want to touch on with him too. As the patron of the sick, he has been known to be affiliated with certain diseases: AIDS, leprosy, smallpox. He is the patron saint for those specific disease groups. Dogs, if you're having, an issue with your dog is having health issues, he is a saint that usually is involved in ritual or petition for relief, for recovery, for restoration. Cleansing of wounds, not just physical but spiritual as well. Fragmentation, again, that rebirth cycle, that transformation cycle, he is highly associated with that. He oftentimes when you're researching St. Lazarus, you'll see that statement, the leper who was raised from the dead. I don't usually include that when I'm doing my workups on St. Lazarus, but it is something you come across, and I guess it is a good kind of visual. They're trying to create a visual picture of the symbolism of St. Lazarus, so that's a good way, I guess, to look at it. Crossroads. He is associated with crossroads, usually with offerings. So if you have ever been to a crossroads that is a heavy spiritual hotspot and you see dry dog food, cookies in the shape of body parts, those are usually offerings for St. Lazarus. So, if you're working petitions, trying to heal a sick dog, a sick, family member, a pet, Dry dog food is a great offering at the crossroads. And yeah, if you're trying to heal a physical body part that you're having issues with, maybe you have a foot injury, a shoulder injury, usually baking cookies or decorating cookies like that body part and leaving that at the crossroads is very common, in working offerings for St. Lazarus. What other things can I tell you? Well, offerings, I guess. I use conjure miniatures. And for those of you who don't, you can buy like miniature crutches. You'll see those on my altar sometimes. I use those for offerings for St. Lazarus if I'm working a case that requires physical restoration. Little dogs. So tiny dogs, you probably have seen those little 1/12 scale dogs that I keep on my altar. Those are offerings for St. Lazarus for cases I've worked involving pets that needed healing. Other things, milagros, those are those small little metal charms. Those are very common when working with St. Lazarus. Candles, water, water rituals, any kind of association to water, really water offerings at the crossroads as well. And then the big one I kind of wanted to talk about, I can put my notes away here. I always forget to mention things, so I take notes to make sure I stay on track. But homeless, helping the homeless, especially this time of year. His feast day is December 17th. It's right before Christmas. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, Mabon and Christmas, the solstice, Sol Invictus, the Belial feast. So I think one of the greatest offerings we can do to gain the support of St. Lazarus, that favor, is going out and volunteering our time, maybe spending a few hours helping out at a soup kitchen, maybe donating some things, do some cleaning out of the closets, taking some things to a local shelter. I like Salvation Army. I used to donate to Goodwill. I'm not going to get into that here, but I just felt like Salvation Army was a more worthwhile. That and St. Vincent de Paul are good places, I think, to donate to help those in need. Going out, I live in the Twin Cities. There are vans from different organizations that go out at night. They deliver food. They deliver like little personal care kits. I've donated to that. I've also gone out and I've helped hand those things out. I've met some very amazing people that are kind of in a situation of struggle right now out there. But I think when we can donate our time, energy, effort, and our love and compassion to helping the homeless, that really does bring St. Lazarus closer to us. And of course, not just for favor with our petitions, but I think just to elevate us, to restore vitality spiritually, physically, across the board, it's favorable. But that's it, you guys. I just wanted to jump on, say happy St. Lazarus feast day, happy birthday to my second ex-husband, Vince. And, if you have any more questions about St. Lazarus, feel free to reach out to me. And stay magical.